You likely hold a specific, unchallenged belief about your own behavior, that if you can excavate the original root cause of a trauma, you will dismantle the unwanted behaviors that stem from it. You assume that finding the origin of the gear will stop it from endlessly spinning. This creates a unique frustration. You can possess deep psychological self-awareness, knowing exactly why you react a certain way, yet still repeatedly fail to stop yourself from sabotaging a project or from lashing out during high-stress moments. The model equating insight with behavioral change is structurally flawed. Knowing the history of a mechanism provides no leverage over its active operation. The brain does not care about an origin story. It operates as a biological machine, completely indifferent to the past, prioritizing only the execution of its current programming in the present moment. Possessing these destructive loops does not indicate a lack of willpower. It is not a biological error in your construction. These unwanted behaviors are highly optimized neurological scripts. They may be outdated for your current environment, but they are executing flawlessly according to their original design. This diagram shows a closed-circuit loop. Notice that shining a spotlight directly onto the wiring illuminates the mechanism, but it does absolutely nothing to halt the continuous flow of the electrical current. Self-awareness provides illumination, not interruption. The governing force behind your daily actions is known in neuro-linguistic programming as subconscious patterning. Look closer at the cross-section of this wire. These deep-seated patterns function as hard-coded, automated neural scripts, sitting dormant until activated by specific environmental cues. These scripts operate in complete silence. They bypass the threshold of conscious logic entirely, executing their commands before you even realize a decision has been made. An automated subconscious script fires in milliseconds. Conscious intention, by comparison, requires slow, deliberate, energy-intensive cognitive processing. This vast speed disparity guarantees a specific outcome. Raw willpower will always lose to an automated pattern. The script has already finished running by the time your conscious mind steps in to intervene. Stopping an automated loop is an engineering problem, requiring physical, mechanical interruption. It is not a psychological problem requiring emotional healing. This diagram illustrates neuroplasticity. The brain's biological imperative is conserving computational energy, taking fragile neural pathways and thickening and hardening them into rigid physical structures. Through repetition, behaviors transition from heavy effort into effortless, automated routines. The pathways glow with high-speed, low-resistance data flow. Once a specific pathway reaches this level of optimization, the brain actively resists any conscious intervention. Rewiring an optimized path costs energy the brain wants to save. Consider shutting down during a conflict. Emotionally, the isolation feels terrible. Neurologically, it is a highly efficient, instantly accessible protocol to manage sensory overload. The sheer persistence of a destructive habit is proof of the brain's flawless biological efficiency. It demonstrates a highly functioning nervous system, not a symptom of personal weakness. The mechanism the brain uses to build these efficient routines is called anchoring, a process of rapid associative learning. An anchor is created when a specific environmental stimulus is mechanically linked to a physiological state. The connection slams shut. The circuit is live. These environmental anchors dictate your daily reactions. They can be triggered by a manager's tone of voice, a looming project deadline, or a colleague's micro-rejection. The body reacts to these anchors instantly. It shifts its chemical state and releases stress hormones milliseconds before the conscious mind can process the event. Traditional therapy or self-help attempts to reason with the physiological response after it has already occurred. You cannot talk a neurological reflex out of firing once the anchor has been tripped. The electrical pulse is already traveling down the wire. To stop the reflex, you must shift your focus from observing the loop to actively destroying it through pattern interruption. The absolute prerequisite for this interruption is the conscious identification of your specific environmental trigger in real time. You must see the switch before it flips. The mechanics of pattern interruption require forcibly introducing a completely new, unexpected neurological state at the exact millisecond of activation. This sudden interruption acts as a roadblock, cracking the established route and starving the neural pathway of energy. Reframing then becomes the tool to repeatedly drive energy into this new branch, solidifying the new habit while the old path fades. This active disruption of a live neural pattern is difficult. It is distinctly more uncomfortable than the passive comfort of analyzing past traumas. Achieving freedom from a trigger requires you to act as an engineer, actively rewiring a live, high-voltage circuit. You cannot succeed by acting as an archaeologist digging up the past. Zooming out from individual habitual loops reveals the overarching cognitive operating systems that govern them, metaprograms. This visualization represents metaprograms. They act as silent, subconscious filters, dropping over the data stream to dictate how your brain processes reality. Operating in the background, these programs autonomously decide which data points are magnified into conscious awareness and which are immediately discarded. Your underlying metaprogram dictates what you perceive as a threat. That perception directly determines which specific anchors your brain decides to build in the first place. Pattern interruption allows you to dismantle a specific habit, but if the underlying metaprogram is ignored, the brain's sorting criteria remain unchanged. You risk clearing one destructive anchor, only for the system to build a replacement that satisfies the same hidden filter. On the left is the toward metaprogram. It processes reality strictly by moving aggressively forward to achieve targets, but its shadow side is a compulsive chasing of outcomes. This velocity destroys personal stability and ignores critical warnings until impact. On the right is the away from metaprogram. This system hyper-focuses on mitigating risks and avoiding pain at all costs. The shadow side of this program is structured paralysis. The excessive caution used to block threats ends up preventing any meaningful progress. Stop analyzing your history. Begin examining the immediate structural architecture of your daily decisions. You must determine the rules of the system operating your life. You're either run by a program compulsively chasing a target you can never catch, or building walls against a threat that isn't actually there.